Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to Fannin's Flashbacks, the podcast that nobody asked for, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. This podcast is going to cover tales from IWA Mid-South during my 12 years with the company, and it will be a part of the BNMVS Podcast Network. This podcast is intended for mature audiences only due to the foul language and graphic details about deathmatch wrestling that it will contain. This will be your backstage pass to get a peek behind the curtain at what led to the downfall of the craziest independent wrestling promotion of the late 1990s, early 2000s. And without any further ado, Nick Manawa, hit the music. Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to this episode of Fannin's Flashbacks. It's the podcast nobody asked for, but I decided to give it to you anyway. These are tales from IWA Mid-South during my time there from 1997 to 2009, and I am joined today by a three-time finalist at King of the Deathmatch tournaments, a former two-time IWA Mid-South light heavyweight champion, and a multiple-time champion in Mid-American Wrestling, and what we'll get to towards the end of this, a future Hall of Famer. I'm joined by Dysfunction. How you doing tonight, Dys?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, dude. It's not often you get to touch on like the IWA history like that, so I was very happy you asked me. It'd be fun to do, you know.
Yeah, it's a passion project that I've started with. You know, so many of those shows weren't recorded.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that were there are unfortunately no longer with us. And if these stories don't get told now while they can, it's just going to evaporate into history. There's like a lot of the shows, what I've learned is like Cage Match is a great website, but it doesn't have all the shows. You know, I just had Rugby Thug Trent Baker on the show, and going through Cage Match, and like an entire show was missing in the results history on the IWA page, and didn't, you know, I had to go over to Wikipedia, and luckily Wikipedia had, you know, a date
Nice.
in a match for like when he regained the title from Suicide Kid, and you know, and it's like, no, the websites are gone, the message boards are gone, so there's like there's no way to go back and get this stuff. So if we don't tell these stories and put it out there and hopefully grab the attention of some of the newer fans, then, you know, it's almost like what we did was for nothing, you know, just lost in time. So it's great that I've been able to get as many people on here as I have. I can't believe we're into, this is like 7 months I've been doing this now. It's absolutely insane to think that I've been able to get this many guests to come on. And, you know, now IWTV is airing these episodes, and people are watching. So,
cool.
You know,
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And with, we still haven't gotten all the old episodes up yet, but we're like trying to add IWA footage into the podcasts, so like people can see some of the footage that we're talking about. Some of the footage that the editor has been able to come up with are like things that are in the Smart Mark video catalog but have never been digitized.
Sure.
So like, unless somebody's going back and buying a VHS tape or buying a DVD, they haven't seen some of this footage that we've been able to roll during the shows. So,
nice.
You know,
how about it for IWTV though? For the fucking test of time, man, they're like the absolute leaders. You know, they're just a godsend for everybody to get their stuff out there, man.
Absolutely.
I love IWTV. I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
Oh, absolutely.
Super appreciate those guys for my like entire career, dude.
They came in and they came in here and they kept IWA afloat. You know, they came in and I got us to the Smart Mark video era, and then Smart Mark was able to keep us afloat for a long time there, and was able to keep me from going bankrupt for quite a while. You know, extended my life expectancy in the business by quite a bit when they came through. And
huge overspender he was.
Yeah.
When XPW came back, they tried to start their own streaming service, and they were trying to have somebody reach out to us to see if we wanted to switch over. And that was like never even going to be a conversation, bro. Like, why would I take my whole library from a cool place and put it on fucking XPW streaming? Like, fuck that, dude. It's been the worst idea ever. Clearly didn't even entertain it, but you know, fuck.
Well, you've learned from others' mistakes that came before you, so you know where like sometimes it's, you know, who even owns some of this IWA footage. He had sold it so many times to so many different people. I don't even know.
All just him? It's just all. Yeah, I never would know, you know, either. You know.
Yeah, I know there's like High Spots has this, and Smart Mark has that, and this person over here has that, and this you know, and like,
so it's been fucking.
It's like who knows? Who knows? He's probably sold the same rights 4 times over to different people by now, you know. But usually we start these podcasts just by getting to know the guest and finding out what made them a wrestling fan to begin with. So were you a fan when you were a kid? Was young Dysfunction running around watching wrestling? Was it something you got into later?
My family liked AWA, so when my dad got older, not older, but he had me when he was like 18, 20, like 19, 20, that area, he was a big wrestling fan. So one of my first few pictures is me with the Hogan LJN. So I've always been a WWF kid. And then, you know, I got introduced to Sting later on. I liked him. Wrestling kind of fell off for me for a little bit, and then I found ECW again. And for some reason, that shit was like, oh, I would like to do that. And, you know, I kind of took off from there and became a backyarder for numerous years, and then on to an American. So I've been pretty fucking like tied up with wrestling since I've been probably 12, and I'm 42 now, dude. So the better part of 30 years I've focused on wrestling. So it's been all right.
Well, it's you've definitely had your moments. So you said you said your dad was AWA, but then you said you're WWF. Time. What did you just miss? Was AWA pretty much already over by the time?
Yeah, it was definitely like 83-ish for me when I was born. So, you know, in the 84.
Okay, so that was right about the time that the mass exodus started, but AWA was still, I think I was still watching it up until about 87, but you know, you would have been like 3-4 years old. So yeah, I guess you really
strictly
missed
like
it.
A Hogan type kid, you know what I mean? Like from being that little and what you got from there on what was on TV. Obviously 80s kid fucking in front of a TV a large chunk. So big WWF guy, you know, for a long period. But when NWO came, I jumped ship, you know. I really enjoyed that more than what was going on the other side. And then DX swung you back, and then you had a little golden age of wrestling there.
Oh yeah, the little pendulum swinging back, like who had the momentum, and it was definitely a fun time to be able to experience that stuff. And you know, you talked about how you were a fan and then you fell out, and then ECW brought you back in. Pretty much was about the same way with me. I had maybe a year and a half where I was the Hulkamaniac. I think somewhere I've got a Polaroid picture that my parents took where I've got the cartoon rock and wrestling bed sheets.
Sure.
You know, and I'm like sleeping, and you can see where I've got the Hulk Hogan rock and wrestling bed sheets, and I had, you know, the LJNs, but the AWA Remco action figures were my favorite. I played with them more.
WWE has put out like a newer version of those with some of the older characters that are very good. I don't really collect wrestlers anymore, but that's like the one series I'll dabble in because it's like the wrestlers I kind of wish I had when I was a kid. You can take off DiBiase's entrance stuff and take the hats off, and they're
Nice.
just perfect. But just wanted to throw that in there on the Remcos because I'm a big fan of those too. You know,
Yeah,
Road Warriors are the
love
first ones.
I had almost the entire first run of the Remcos, and now I like look back and I'm like, man, the amount of, if I'd have kept those in the package.
Those that like I was at Abby, Marty Jannetty. There's a couple of those last run guys, like 1,500, 2 grand, you know, even higher. Those
Yeah,
ones are
because I
super
know
hard to come by.
I had the Road Warriors. I didn't have the 3-pack that came with Paul Ellering. I just
Oh,
had
yeah,
the
yeah.
2-pack of the Road Warriors. I had the Long Riders. I had I had the Stan Hansen, Jerry Blackwell set. I had the Abdullah the Butcher, Carlos Colon 2-pack. I had the High Flyers. I had I think it was like Martel, Baron von Raschke, like Flair, Zabisco.
My cousin
Um,
Frankie had those. When I went by his house, that's when I got to play with the Road Warriors, bro. Because we were kind of a WWF house, you know what I mean? So I didn't really
yeah,
have those. So I was always super intrigued by fucking the Road Warriors.
yeah, and
It was a good
I
choice.
had the Freebirds 3-pack. I mean, some of those just
Yeah,
so
it's a good
much
choice.
money
They're cool.
if I wouldn't have played with them, you know. But
Yeah.
what's the fun in that when you're a
No,
kid?
yeah, you didn't
You're
know
not
that
thinking
then,
of
dude.
that stuff.
I was ripping
And
those fuckers open when I was little, dude. And you're ripping that shit open, man.
yeah, and there's
It's
been they brought back the LJNs, so like every once in a while, if I find myself in a Target, I'll walk over and just see
yeah.
if they've got any. And like the only ones I've seen in the wild are both versions of the what's the YouTube guy that like
Oh,
has the
Logan Paul.
yeah, Logan Paul. That's the only ones that I've seen in the stores when I've gone in there, and I'm like, you know, these things are like $40 now, and I'm like, you'd have to pay me
Yeah, they're pricey.
$140 to take it.
Yeah.
If it's that guy, I want nothing to do with that. But I
My
was looking
my
for like the
sister's
Dusty Roads and
Oh, sure. Yeah, that one's sweet. My sister's boyfriend got me the Hogan one randomly, and he's like, "Here, that's for you, dude." So that's how I got that one. But I'm not a big toy hunter anymore either. They're
it
very
used to.
expensive, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
couldn't
40
believe the
is
price on them
like
when I
it's
was.
just like fuck, dude. Like 20 is kind of the max for me on a figure where I want to be. You
Well,
know,
and
just
like
cheap.
Manawa sent me the link where I don't if you can see the background in my camera here where I've got the Candido figure standing up
Oh,
there at the
okay,
middle
yeah.
shelf.
The heels and faces.
He sent me like the link to that, and it was like 50
$40, right?
bucks. And I was
Yeah,
like, my
yeah,
God, I was like, but it's Candido, I'll do it. But I was like, you know, I'm looking and I'm like, they got a ton of ones that I would like to have, but yeah, I ain't pay.
yeah, dude.
I can't
The price
justify
is rough.
paying that for.
Yeah.
I can justify it for Candido, but I can't justify it for
I
anybody
bought
else.
my
So
stepson. I bought him a Danhausen when they had a Thanksgiving sale one time. I think it was 30, and I could justify that one. Like, yeah, we can do that for you, dude. I got you. But yeah, the $50 figure is tough, man.
yeah,
Fucking
that's
pricey.
very
All of
tough.
wrestling's pricey. It's not, like if you watched WrestleMania or whatever, and then you like think back to Idiocracy and all the advertisements everywhere, and it's basically like WrestleMania has turned into fucking Idiocracy, with the amount of ads, and, like the way they push everything all the fucking time.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I've maybe seen maybe an hour of WWE in the 2000s.
Yeah, yeah, it's not great.
You know,
I don't really watch too many wrestling.
I just don't watch them at all. Never never was into that style. I was always a Crockett NWA
Sure.
world class UWF guy growing up, and that was just the style that I greatly preferred. And then ECW, when I found that, I was like, oh, this is my
Yeah, it
calling.
was good shit.
I never thought that I would ever be able to get into the business. Never thought I'd be able to be on shows. So it never, like, you know, you had said earlier, you start watching ECW and you're like, I want to do that.
Oh yeah, dude.
I didn't have those thoughts, but I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. So you're watching ECW and you're seeing all that, the crazy hardcore stuff, and you decide that that's what you want to do. How did you parlay that in? Like, how did you find a place to train you and be able to do it?
My uncle Bob was like big into having like the newest game systems. He had a giant satellite dish, bro. So like I was able to get like the Sunshine Network. So I would go sleep over there on a Friday so I could watch ECW. I think the first thing I ever seen was Just Incredible and Sandman or something like that, you know, when he first got in there with the Got Blood. Like that shit had me. It was very good. So I just like became a backyarder with my cousins and we just started like mocking ECW for a while. Then that transitioned into like wrestling in the basement, and then we started our own promotion. I did that for 3-4 years. Then I found Frank, where I started training there with him and Carmine. So starting there with Carmine, because I had my backyard, you know, like history, it was very easy to put me with like Ian or somebody like that. You know, I could get color and I could do, you know, I filled in for Harley Lewis on a hardcore cup when he didn't want to work twice, and I got squashed by Corp. You know, it's my fucking first 6 months I'm in a deathmatch tournament. But doing that kind of shit, it's bad, you know, whatever. But it enabled me to like do other things because I was decent at it. You know what I'm saying? Young kid, and you fucking bump me all you want, dude.
Okay, so it was Frankie DeFalco then that.
Yeah. And my dad knew him from like playing basketball like when they were younger and stuff like that in softball league. So when I kept like I was like doing dumb shit in the basement, like I broke a Christmas ornament on my head in one of the matches and it gashed me and like fucking then my dad was like, that's enough. You're gonna go with this guy and he's gonna train you. So I started with him and his connection with Mid American is like made that my home promotion, you know. So that's where I started.
Okay. And it looked like on Cage Match, it had your debut as right before Christmas in 2000. So
against Frank, right?
Yeah, against Frank.
Yep.
And I mean, if you're just 42 now, I mean, what? So were you like 16 when you had your first match then?
Yeah, right about 16, end of 16, right at 17. Okay. Like I said, man, the backyard stuff, like you can say it's bad for people, but at the time of what we were doing, like it was kind of a benefit for me. One of my first like camps, Derek St. Holmes, the technical guy, we're wrestling, and he looks at my head and he goes, "Do you have gig marks?" And I'm like, "Duh, I'm a yarder, dude. Of course I have gig marks." So that shit, because of what was going on with Carmine and Ian and the stuff that they were booking, you know, it gave me a fast track to being a young dickhead heel to do that stuff. So it all kind of worked, you know. It's not the like preferred method people would say is, yeah, be a backyarder for a few years and fucking season up a little.
Right. So do you have any direct memories of that first match in MAW with Frankie?
Yeah, dude. Brawled all over the place. He like powerbombed me on a table that wasn't gonna break, like a catering table. It was good. We tore it up, man. I was so ambitious, you know what I mean? Like, so when I was very young, the veterans would come into the room and they'd be kind of like, I don't want to be here. And I used to just think, man, I can't believe they would think like that, you know? Like, oh man, I just want to wrestle all the time. Now I am that fucking guy, you know? It's like, so I get
now you see it. Yeah. I mean? Yeah, everything comes full circle. So you said there was an unbreakable table. Did you only go into it once or
no, numerous times? Like like this was like even a small, like this was before I was on a big show. So he tried doing like a fan con. So there was only like 50 people there, and I had probably sold 20 of the tickets, you know, my first match for family and stuff. So I said I think we went 22 minutes or something ridiculous like that, dude. It was good. It was fun. Then the next month I wrestled him on the main show and kind of did the same match, but a little different. I want to say my third or fourth match was against Cabana. So it was cool for me, like coming up.
Yeah. And so, of course, you know, Ian's on those shows. So that's probably what ends up getting you to actually be able to make it into the IWA shows.
Yeah.
Just because of what he saw there. So it looks like July 25th of 2001 is your first match that showed up with Colt, and you actually defeat Colt Cabana in your IWA debut. Do you have any?
Did I?
That's what Cage Match says it happened that way. I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you if you had any memories of that, but if you can't even, but if you don't remember who it was,
I would assume that was on a Wednesday night. So the deal was I could come down with Serrano. Like, you know, I'm a rookie. Like at best, I'm getting 10 or 20 bucks. I remember getting like 20 bucks and being real pumped to get hot dogs at Thornton's after. You know what I'm saying? Just a young dude, like. But I was traveling with Serrano, so I was in high school and like I was a 5-year guy because of wrestling, and I stretched that shit out, and I would miss school for wrestling all the time, like especially IWA, like a lot. But those Wednesday shows, Serrano and I would go down there and stay down there till the Friday show, and then we would either go home or to Huck's or different stuff like that. So Serrano and like Ian liking him, plus you know the shit I was doing, was definitely how I was able to do those for so long with him. You know, he was all about the traveling at that time.
Yeah, because it looks like July 25th you beat Colt Cabana, and then July 28th, so 3 days later.
Yeah,
so it was
right?
like a Wednesday Saturday deal.
Yeah.
You lose to Bull Payne in that second match. Do you have any memories of wrestling
Absolutely.
Bull?
Absolutely. I was so fucking terrified as a young
That's what I was going to ask you.
Terrified. Didn't know if I was going home.
well,
you'll be
going
fine,
home in a
like,
body bag or going home in one piece.
Like legit, like super scared, super. Like I was hoping he wouldn't come. Like maybe he won't come, and I can. Then he shows up, and what do you want to do, kid? You don't swear enough, kid. And before we're going out, he's like, "You have a gig?" And I'm like, "No." So when we're working, I end up just grabbing a piece of glass off the ground and fucking gigging for him, you know. I believe he put my face through the fucking nacho-ish area where Fannin were. But terrified at first, but Bull, you know, became one of my best fucking dudes from that era, from there and GCW, and I still talk to Bull like today, you know. But terrified, dude. Legit terrified.
Yeah, well, everybody was, and if you weren't, he would make you terrified by the end of it, you know. But that's, I was going to ask, like, if you were scared of Bull, because he was the one guy that just scared the shit out of me to this day.
You don't swear enough, kid. I'm fucking sorry, dude. I really do swear a lot, I swear.
You were just trying to be on your best behavior, you know?
Man, just, 17, you know, it's just like, you're just happy to be there, but then you're also nervous as fuck, and there's all, you know, good stuff. You mentioned Cufa and Trent Baker before earlier. Cufa was somebody I hung out with like a lot when I was in IWA, dude. Me and him were definitely good buddies. I liked him a lot, man. We were boys.
Yeah, I've got some stuff on him later, so we can definitely talk about him. And
he was definitely one of my good buddies down
Yeah.
there.
Okay, and so after you had the match with Bull that you didn't know if you were going to go home in a body bag or in one piece, thankfully you went home in one piece. But about a month after that, it was the 2001 Sweet Science 16, before it was the Ted Petty Invitational, and you wrestle Isaiah on night 1. Not in the tournament. You weren't not in the tournament, just a bonus match. ICP, the Insane Clown Posse's on that show. Did Ian put you on that as a favor because you were a fan?
He knew I was a big mark for them and stuff, so he he was very cool about adding me to shit all the time, you know, especially early on. So stuff like that, he would always find something for me to do. But so that's one thing I'll always super appreciate. I don't even think I really got to talk to him that much there or anything like that, you know. But that was like super mark days for me, so I was just fucking happy to be on a show with him type shit. You know what I mean?
Okay, I mean, and you only got to do the one night. Was it because you were booked somewhere else?
Yeah, something like that probably. I have a decent memory, but some of the things I'm not the greatest on. I may have just hung out the next day with Corp.
Okay.
That's the time period where me and Corp were fucking, you know, good buddies too, man.
Okay. All right. But you said you didn't get to have really any interaction with ICP on that one.
Like it took me a few years to like come around to like get into the ICP bubble, you know. I couldn't just fucking walk into it at that time, you know. It took me a while. First time I did, I'm sure we'll touch on this later, but I ended up having to be like an altar boy for a while, dude. So yeah, I took anything when it came up there. You know, I just wanted to get in at that with him. But I don't mean to jump ahead, but yeah. Corp was like I said, I was just making good friends with guys like that who eventually helped me get into cooler stuff like that. You know, without Corp, I wouldn't have got into that.
Well, that's the one thing that I'm sadly learning, trying to do my comeback now is, you know, you have to rely a lot on friendships to open those doors for you. And I didn't try to make a lot of friends my first go round. So and it's kind of it's kind of hard to get in, and I stayed away a little too long, and now waiting to try to build up some footage for other people to be able to see. And
Indiana's got just a couple of feds too, right? It's not like there's a ton of shit going on, right? It's just a few.
I honestly, it seems like they've got quite a bit. You know, Manawa's posting quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I guess you would see more than I would. It just seemed like there was a couple out there, but yeah, man.
Because I know there's like the Wrestle Arts that, you know, but that's Brandon Profit. So he was IWA Connections shared locker room to get into that. And but like there's Naptown Wrestling, there's House of Heat, there's Hooligan Championship. Like seems like there's something that's, I know Manawa's posting stuff all the time where there's quite a you know, there's quite a few. I did a Black Label Pro show. I don't know how often they're running, but there's quite a bit around, and you know, so many here in Chicago where I'm at, and it's like, but it's like I don't know anybody. So
yeah, I didn't know if you lived in Indiana or Chicago.
Yeah, I'm in
random shit in Chicago.
I'm in Chicago. I would
suggest maybe if you need like this dude named Jimmy Blaze runs POW, he's a good dude. You can always say I fucking sent you, bro. Feel free. He's had a good promotion, man. There's some good like old school promotions in Chicago too. Like there's the AAWs and stuff, but there's a lot of good old school ones too, man. POW's always been a good place for me. I always like POW.
Yeah, well, that other place you mentioned isn't an option for me, so.
Sure. I've never been there either.
That me and Danny Daniels shouldn't be in the same room together.
The story past. You know, like we'll get to it. The lightweight title, but yeah, you can clear the air on that thing too. That's been a cool little piece of lore. Lightweight championship.
Yeah. We got that one here coming up fairly soon. So the next week after the Sweet Science 16, you get Isaiah again, but it's a 3-way and American Kickboxer is involved. Do you have any thoughts on American Kickboxer? And before you answer it, I just want you to know that he watches this podcast with me every Friday morning when it premieres on YouTube at 7 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Central. It's usually, sometimes it's just me and him that are in there when it debuts, and we just chat back and forth, and he gives me his little tidbits based on the stories, and we just chat in the comments, and every once the more popular the person is, the more people will end up joining us. So Kickboxer, it will hear what you were about to say.
That's fine.
So I'll give you that little warning.
Yeah, I like Frank. I've always liked Frank. Frank's always been a great dude. I always give him credit as being like the original weed man. You know what I mean? You know, the fucking Izzy High is basically the first creation of the weed man. Violent J, like, he likes his same kind of gimmicks kind of rehashed over the years. You know what I'm saying? You had Izzy High, weed man, you have cocaine. So, but I love Kick. You know, like, I wish I could have wrestled Kickboxer like in his prime, like me, like today, or me 2 years ago. Because like at this point, I'm such a good base, and I love working small guys. Like I could have fucking tore it down with Kickboxer, you know. So yeah, Frank, hope you're doing good. Love you, dude. Big fan always. Good dude.
Yeah,
I've just hung out with him a bunch at gatherings and stuff like that. You know, like I always like Frank. Good dude.
Nice. Yeah, I've really gotten to know him a lot better since I came back and started doing this podcast. He was the first one to reach out to me and be nice. Hey, I'd love to have you on my podcast so we can let some people know that you're doing this, and you know, sweet, I'll come on and do yours. And you know, he's been right there the whole way. Like, say, makes the time to come join me every week and watch the episode to support it. And you know, so it
yeah, always a good dude, man.
Always a good dude to me. So after that, we'll bring up a couple of other feds just that I saw on your list, you know, on Cage Match. So it looked like in September 22nd, 2001, a federation called NFW, you win the tag titles with J Real as your partner. Sure. Is that the first like title that you?
Yeah. So that company was ran by this guy named Darkchild. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No.
Serrano beat him once on like a Mid-American show, but he's one of those guys who like had a made up like backstory and history, like 305-0 in European cage fighting, two-time defensive MVP in some fucking European football league, just full of fucking shit. He ended up going to jail for like having child porn or something that long.
So great guy.
He's a fucking class act. Yeah, real piece of shit. He used Buck Zumhofe all the time back in.
Well, that explains it.
Yeah,
that explains it. Then all right.
At all, but that was the first thing I wanted, and like that trip there was one of those like desperate wrestler trips where like the first night of that like NFW thing was like in a high school, and he ran against Homecoming or something. So there was legit like 4 people there. So
ran against
nothing
Homecoming
to be made.
Okay.
So I'm traveling with fucking Peter B and Jay Real. We go to sleep in the car. That's awful. The next day is like on a street festival, and it's cold and it's trash. We do that. We leave. Jay Real writes a bad check so we could all get like Old Country Buffet on the way home. So that's one of my early like desperate wrestler stories where it's just awful, man. Awful. But you need those trips like to grow and whatnot. But,
yeah, well, it's definitely a learning experience,
man. Yeah, those shows, you know, those were
sometimes you wish you don't have to learn it that way. But
yeah, bookings to take bookings when you're young, man.
Yeah, and then the next month you win the MAW tag titles with Dino Bambino as your partner. Do you have any memories of that match?
Well, Dino was one of my favorite guys when I was a fan. So he was always nice to me when I started training. So getting the team with him was probably one of the coolest things I did up to that point in wrestling. Super pumped about it. You know, like figure most of the time I'm getting jobbed out or, you know, getting the shit kicked out of me, paying dues. So getting to win like a belt as like 18. I took that shit to school with me often, you know, in high school. Like everybody knew I was a wrestler. So like I had no problem fucking bringing my belt, bro. No fucking
nice. Nice. Wear it proud. Strut down that hall.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit.
That's fantastic. I wish I could have had the opportunity to do something like that. I probably would have tried even with the Morris show that we'll get to here in a few minutes. But
in my school, I was the known backyard wrestler, though. You know what I mean? Like everybody, because that's when wrestling was super hot. So there was even,
right.
you know, two backyard feds from that area, even on top of what we were doing. So wrestling was super hot at the time. So like it was easy to like show up with a belt and not be weird, you know.
Well, and so question for you, if you even remember this, was I still taking Ian to the Mid-American shows at this point, or had me and Carmine already had our fight?
I'm not sure about that exactly.
Okay.
I would have. I think it was like one of those things where Corp jumped out of something, like off a thing, and like kind of busted his shit on Ian. I think maybe that was the one where he got in a fight with him, but I'm not 100%. It's maybe like a 4-way or something. I have a foggy memory on some of this shit. You know what I mean? But that's
well,
what
I just know there was.
What did you guys get in a fight about?
Well, I tried to tell this story on the Chucky Smooth podcast, but his wife showed up and he had to like run and get off the phone and end it. So before I could really tell the story, so Chucky had brought up how I wish I could remember the exact quote that he had. It was like I was an unretented prick or so. I forget exactly how he said it, but like I would, I'd have to drive Ian up to these shows all the time and then sell his gimmicks.
yeah, you weren't thrilled to be there.
And I didn't want to be
carloads too. Yeah, random carloads of people too.
Right. Yeah, there would be like a carload of it, and I did not want to be there.
KP's Classics, bro. KP's Classics were the shows I remember.
Okay, I don't think I ever went to. I had to have been gone by
the baseball field.
I might have been at the baseball field one time. Okay. There was like maybe one show that I was at where it was at like there was like a sand volleyball court or something. And on that show, a woman threw a pitcher of beer on Punk and Punk almost killed her.
Yeah. I was on that one. I was for sure.
Okay. So I was on that. But otherwise, it was just the Knights of Columbus and West Dallas that I was around for. But I would fall asleep at the gimmick table and I would let everybody know that like I thought Farmer Vic and Reverend Axel Future and Derek St. Holmes Esquire and Skull Crush. I thought they were all the drizzling shits. I could not take like I'm not driving 10 hours and then watching that. I'd rather you pull me outside, throw me into oncoming traffic and just put me out of my misery. So I was not in a good mood ever. And I would like
chime in really quick. Farmer Vic, good friend of mine, but when I was going to the shows, the way Carmine would book them as heel tag teams and always with the false tags and then always the fuckovers, it made me absolutely hate the false tag, all that shit. Like to where I don't use that in wrestling and I haven't used it in 20 fucking years. Nice. Carry on.
Okay. So like, but I would put my head down at the gimmick table and I would just like make groaning noises like I was near death. And it was the most excruciating pain ever. And like people must have been like telling Carmine about it. I don't know. And so then, you would always have to go to that fucking bar after the show.
Cocktails and Dreams. Does this leave it Joe Fuhrer and Ian or no?
whatever the fucking name of it was, but there would always be the bar that was the sponsor and I'd have to take Ian and everybody there. And Ian would always be like, oh, I've got to go here. I got to mingle with the fans. I got to, I'm the baby face. I got, the sponsor wants me there. I can't do, I can't screw over Carmine. So I'd have to go and like, I don't drink.
Bar food.
I don't drink. I don't want to be around it. I don't want to be in it. I don't want to be anywhere near it. And so like that would even be worse than being at the Mid-American shows to me. But then one night I'm just sitting with Dave Prazak at the bar and Prazak's got some Japanese wrestling tape going and he's sitting there watching it and I'm just sitting by him and I haven't said one word to anybody, haven't done anything. And Carmine walks up to me and he goes, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" And I looked up at him and I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" And so I looked at him and I said, "Somebody that puts on a better show than you do." And he looked at me and he goes, "What?" So then I had to like mock him and be like, "I said that I'm somebody that puts on a better show than you." And he just hauls off and punches me in the face. And I just look at him like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What the fuck did you just do?" And Corporal comes running over and he's like, "Do you want me to kick his ass?" And I'm like, "I can do that. I don't need you for that." And then Carmine's cussing me out and Carney because I'm not selling for him. And I just look up at him and go, "I don't work for you. I ain't selling for you."
He didn't sell for me.
And
he must have been fucked up.
Well, like I never saw Carmine. I never saw Carmine where he wasn't.
I never you, Jim Fannin. Fuck you.
Yeah, never saw Carmine where he wasn't fucked up. He was. I had an uncle that couldn't keep a job for 2 weeks because his first paycheck, he'd go on a 4-day bender, and then he ended up killing himself drinking and driving. I saw him sober before I saw Carmine sober. I mean, he
ended up getting better as years went by, but no, he was a heavy drinker at one point.
And he would constantly tell Ian, he's not one of the boys. He won't party and smoke and drink with us. He's not one of the boys. And I just look at him and be like, if that's what it takes to be one of the boys, then I don't want to be one of the boys. But like after that, I was like, "Ian, you got to find somebody else to bring you up here." So I went and I sat in my car after that, and Ian made me sit in the car for like an hour and a half, 2 hours before he decided that he'd had enough and that he could I could take him back to the hotel at that point, and so I was like, one, you're supposed to be my best friend. And, this guy punches me. Granted, I'm a dick half the time, but that time I wasn't,
Sure.
I was just sitting there minding my own business, trying to behave. And he starts shit with me. And, and then like after that, then Ian tries to make us work together on the IWA shows to try to patch things up to where he's like supposed to be like a mentor to me in managing like Brad and Boz. And I'm like, this is fucking dumb. I do recall. We can't, it was like, we can't fucking stand each other and whatever. So like after that point, like other people started taking, so I don't think I really was around for too many of your mid-American shows at this point. I'm pretty sure I'd stopped coming at that point. But so you win those titles. We'll go ahead and talk Mid-American because it is a little bit of a shared history. So we'll mention them and go ahead and talk about that tag title win. But it looked like you hadn't really ever wrestled Ian on any of those shows when I was going through the results. So it looked like January 5th, 2002 in IWA was the first time that you actually wrestled Ian. Is that how you remember it, or is Cage Match missing something?
I beat him for the Mid-American title in April something. So
that's coming after later. This.
Yeah.
So that's a few months after that.
This would have been an IWA. Was this like an IWA show, like a random show or something?
It might have been. It might have been like there are. I think it might have had like Sabu might have been on the show.
He might have just been giving me a shot to like stand out or something. You know what I mean? Like he was pretty high on me. Like he liked giving me chances. So he might have, seen, hey, maybe we'll fucking put him with me and see what we get.
Because I sort of remember where didn't he like really rough you up in a couple of matches? Like I couldn't remember if this was like one of the ones where it was almost like a glorified squash kind of
Was
thing.
that a Grand Slam? That might have been Grand. Oh no, okay. This might have been the one where he hit me in the back of the head with a chair and knocked me out. If that was Mid-American at Grand
No,
Slam.
this is an IWA
That's not
show.
that yet. Then no, that was probably just him giving me a shot or something, dude.
Okay.
I can't think of, like anything outside of that. Or no, I think there was an angle. Didn't I go like Bull Payne and them beat the shit out of him before, and then I came out and tried. That's not that one either.
I have no idea.
I think it was part of like some angle he was doing with Todd Morton and Bull in them. So
it could have been
the shit out of him, and then he ends up beating me with a chair shot or two at the end or something like that. I think maybe,
that. I mean, it very well could be. So much of this stuff runs together, and
that's that like that one building, Jeffersonville, I want to say,
it was
the floors.
With January of 2002 should have still been in the barn, the Blue Barn.
Is that the one? I might be mixing shit up, but I do recall the Blue Barn too. I might just be mixing. Is that the one where like we beat the guy up and smacked his head into the fucking wall and pushed him out where everybody beat him up?
That building. Yeah,
okay,
same building.
Yeah, that one, dude.
Yeah, because it's the same place where the ICP show was at.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Then I'm mixing them up. But yeah, I think that's the one there. That's why I wrestled him, because it's part of an angle.
Okay. And then the next month is when you win the IWA Light Heavyweight Championship, a huge 4-man tournament. So you beat Chucky Smooth, and then you beat Kufa in the finals to win the title. You had started to talk about Kufa earlier, so I'll let you do where you can talk about Kufa. And
the real story there is that when I won, that belt was actually the NWA Midwest title that Punk was bringing and using as the lightweight title. So I never, like, he didn't trust me and I wasn't allowed to have it or use it. So that's why we had the story of I lost it at a strip club type thing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because I was like sitting there trying, like, because I thought you had legitimately lost the belt somewhere, and I was asking
Nick.
That's
a fun piece of lore.
I was asking Nick earlier this week. I was like, feed me some stories that we could talk about, and he's like, well, like, what are you looking for that's not just results on Cage Match? And I'm like, well, like, what about him losing the title somewhere? Like, what wasn't there like somewhere ridiculous that he lost the title? And he was like, dude, it was somebody else's belt. And, that was just the story. And I'm like, well, fuck, I didn't know.
No, that's good. But as a young man, I came up with that story so that it stuck and stuff was like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a time too in wrestling when I was very inspired to like write stuff for angles, characters, you know what I mean? So,
well, that was a good one. I couldn't I couldn't remember the strip club part of it. I didn't remember that part, but I did remember like this young kid just went out and lost the belt somewhere, and then we don't have a damn belt. And I think I'd even, like, on the Tarek episode, I think I was like, yeah, that damn Dysfunction losing the belt, and like, then we don't have a title belt.
Philip and all of a sudden he didn't trust me having it, so I wasn't allowed to have it.
Okay, well, that definitely makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
It ties in with the saying I lost it too,
Yeah, so that was February the 1st, 2002 is when you win the title, and then the very next week you lose the title to Ace Steel. Do you remember dropping the title, and was there was there a reason that Ian only had you as champ for a week?
Know why I even won the fucking belt. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I was 185, 190 pounds, but like I wasn't super cruiserweight or anything. So I whatever. But hey, I'm just fucking there, dude. But yeah, I think I was just a transition guy. But why I have a 4-man tournament? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I was looking at it. Well, there was. And it was weird. I was looking at the show. I was looking at the show, and it's like a 4-man tournament for the light heavyweight title, and then there was a 4-team tournament for the tag titles.
Oh, okay.
On the same show, and I'm like sitting there going, "That's like."
Was that was that? Oh, it's Indianapolis or something like that, maybe.
It might have been. I didn't look. I have just vague. This was this was like a day or two before the last show in the Charlestown barn. So it may, it could have been like Indianapolis. I should have wrote that part down too, but
I would assume maybe he just like, hey, he'll give me a little rub and being a transitional guy to get it to Ace, but I'll take it, anything like that. But I would assume maybe that was the thought process. Hey, well, we'll just give it to this kid, transition it out, who knows? He was booking a lot of shit,
Well, and there was so many damn shows, you gotta,
guys,
12, 14
it's hard matches.
Yeah, hard to come up with all that different ideas. So sometimes you're gonna like decide to do something, and then the next week change your mind. I don't know, but
somebody pisses you off, and then
I think part of the reason that the lore of actually leaving the belt at a strip club, I think the reason that's like so believable and like has lived memorable 25 years later is the fact that it was only a 1 week title reign. So it was like that fuck up, lost the title, left the title to strip club. So of course he's gonna lose.
Maybe my punishment was to wrestle Ace Steel, like a match you can't win type shit or something like that.
Something, yeah. You didn't like try to kick in the dressing room door and fight him, did you?
No.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I was a yes man in those years, buddy. I was yes sir, just happy to be there. It took a few years to stand up to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not something you do right away, but after a couple years, you finally go, no, fuck this, dude.
Yeah. So then we get to the show at my high school, the Morris Mayhem, March the 2nd, 2002, with a foot of fucking snow on the ground.
Yeah. Recall that.
You wrestle Chucky Smooth. Do you remember anything about?
Yeah. I've watched that match recently. Within the last few years, I've rewatched that once or twice. Chuck Smooth's still a very good friend of mine. I would say we probably talk monthly. I've been talking to him for years. I was one of the first people to bring him back and do something, when he was kind of coming back. I had him do this liberal army fucking deal. It was very good. He had a gay Tupac. It's good stuff. But I always liked working him. He was a guy like, he was an IWA, kind of like a mid-carder, would float around the top. But from where I was in IWA, he's somebody I would wrestle, quite often or get paired up with or, in that same bracket area type thing.
So you would have, what was Chucky the baby or the heel in this one?
He was definitely the heel. And if you watch that match, like, yeah, because it's a test, it's a time machine. So there's so many, like, the chance that he used to get back.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, it's so much of that. And you're just watching out, and you're like, oh, boy.
Right. It's like, oh, well, no wonder we didn't get to go back,
that crowd was behind it.
Listen,
it wasn't my fault.
Because I rewatched it a few years ago. Me and my buddy Rich Wayne used to do a podcast before I was doing this one where it was Friends, Seinfeld, and wrestling. And so we would pick we would pick 1 week, like say the week of September 18th, 1998 or whatever. And so we would go back and we would watch that week's episode of Seinfeld, that week's episode of Friends, and then like that week's Raw, Nitro, IWA show that happened to be that week, and we just do a podcast talking about all of it. And
nice.
And like nobody would listen to it because who would have thought that the crossover of liking Friends and Seinfeld and liking professional wrestling evidently was not that large.
I like Seinfeld a lot.
But we ended up doing this week just so I could talk about the Morris show. So I had to go back and at that point that was the first time I had rewatched the Morris show since it happened. And I was like just sitting there watching it going, Jesus Christ, no wonder we didn't get to go back, because I think it was like Danny Dominion kept like throwing homophobic slurs at everybody. you know, and you're just like cringing watching it, and you're like, oh my God. And, you know,
IWA wasn't made for like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
no, in like, in sort of in our defense, like we told the football coach what we did.
Yeah,
and he specifically said, do what you do. And like, if it was 5 years earlier, we would have gotten away with it because the football coach ran everything at that point. But he had started to lose his power by then, and he was going to be like 2 years later, he was gone. But he was like, he started coaching the year I was born, you know, and he was like a god there, and he ran everything. And he had like 2 state championships, 5 runner-ups, you know, so he was like ruled the place. But the tide started to turn on him, and he didn't have as much power. So, you know, he said, do what you do, and thought we'd be fine. And there was just too much pushback that, you know, we all this blood and all the like just cringe put downs and stuff in the commentary and in promos, and you're like ugh, not good.
You know, before we started recording, I was telling you just like how many lessons were able to be learned as a sponge from working IWA and seeing certain shit Ian did or didn't do. And then mostly the later years though, with like the fans and money type shit, and just kind of, you know, like lots of lessons learned. And I feel like those lessons helped me be a very good promoter today. You know what I'm saying? You know, everything in wrestling is, remember, eyes open, ears shut. All is a learning experience, even if it's business too. You know what I mean? You can fucking learn everything if you want. You know, just wanted to throw that in with that.
Right. So around this time, you know, the Morris show the goal there was to try. I thought for sure we were going to have a couple thousand people there. We still ended up with around 700. At that point, was that one of the larger crowds that you'd been in front of?
Sure, yeah. More than likely, yeah, dude. That was Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, right?
Right.
Oh, and yeah, definitely. And in my early days, yeah, for sure.
You know, and so like I was for sure that we were gonna have a couple thousand people there, and then we'd have some money, go find ourselves a new building to replace, because we had lost Charlestown the month before, and you know, then that damn foot of snow falls. And I mean, still ended up with 700 people, which is amazing. With a foot of snow fell that day, and we still ended up with 700 people in the gymnasium, which is fantastic. But when you've got Eddie Guerrero and you've got Rey Mysterio Jr. and you've got, you know, and then he ran Indianapolis the night before just so he could get 2 shows out of those guys, and so he had to make up their pay from that show, and so he had to pay him and so we just didn't have it. So there's not a lot of shows at this point. We run a show in Dayton, Ohio, April the 19th, 2002. You lose to Ian. It's the IWA show. On that show, Colt Cabana defeats CM Punk and Eddie Guerrero to win the IWA Mid-South title on that show. Do you remember, is that the show that had the carnival in the parking lot?
Dude, I want to say is that the one that like 10 people with Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah, with like 10 people with Eddie Guerrero, because there was the fucking carnival in the parking lot that they didn't tell us about.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yes, I think that was the same night.
Crazy. Just as like a promoter now, thinking of that, to have the overhead of that show, which is a fucking insanely expensive show. If you break down every person on that or all the name people, I can't even fathom. You know what I'm
right?
saying?
And then you pull up and there's a damn freaking carnival going on in the parking lot, so no one can even park anywhere near the venue.
Yeah, no, it's fucking crazy. That's a crazy.
So
I
like,
forgot that.
you know, you were making fun of that other promoter for running on homecoming.
Sure.
Like, did the high school tell him that it was homecoming?
He just wanted to do it. He just did it.
He just did it.
Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, he just did it to run. He was that kind of guy. He promotions who thought he could run 50 times a year type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He tried to take these guys on a tour once, and they get to some of these festivals, and the festivals don't even know there's something booked. My cousin was on that. It was one of his first, desperate wrestling fucking weekends. But, like, why would you trust this guy and go on a school bus for a tour? Like, it sounds so fucking bad.
Okay, because I was like, I knew that I had this Dayton story coming up, so I was like, I didn't want to like criticize him if the school didn't tell him, like the building didn't tell us, hey, by the way, we just said, hey, is the gym open on this date? And they said, yeah,
sure. At least Dayton's a big town. Like, this is a small town where high school football's, like big,
right? What I mean? Like in Morris was,
Yeah, there's no absolute chance. No chance. You know what I mean? Like, two of the people in the crowd were this guy's mother and father, dude. Like, it was fucking rough. Like, rough, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Dayton, that's a rough one too, man. There was, I don't know, man. Like, sometimes just the draws are fucking tough. But he, like, too many people booked. You know what I'm saying? If he like could reel that shit in and have an 8-match card that went 2.5 to 3 hours, that shit would have been, people would be fucking hungry for more. You know what I'm saying? But you give them it all, and then you give them like leftovers to take home on top of what you gave them. You didn't always have
right. That was one of the things I would argue with him all the damn time. It's like, we do not need 12 matches. You need to start telling people no. He would never tell anybody no. Like,
no, never.
The guys would call him up.
I have that problem
now. Yeah. Guys would call him up like the night before the show. Oh man, my other booking fell through. Can I come down? Sure, come on down.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we're gonna have 20. We're gonna have more wrestlers in the dressing room than we have fans in the crowd. And but he just had this thing in his head where it was like, let all the guy, as many people want to show in. We're gonna have 28 matches, and it's gonna be 5 DVDs, and people are gonna buy it. People are gonna buy it. And it's like, and I'd tell him, I'd be like, nobody wants to be here till 3 a.m. Oh, well, I'm a fan. Give me, I want as much as possible. I don't get what all you guys are complaining about with wanting to, the shows to be shorter. If I'm paying for a ticket, give me as much as possible. And I'm like, no one wants to be held captive for 12 hours in this damn building. Even if they paid for a ticket, I was like, they paid $8 for a ticket. They don't need 12 hours of being here.
That's a big learning thing I took from there too, was, show pacing, not overdoing it. Like, I say I use everybody, but I'm sticking a guy, making it a 3-way or a 4-way. Some of the younger kids in my area, I still, I'm a fucking pushover too when it comes to adding guys, but nowhere near where I'm adding a name or somebody who's getting a couple $100 or anything like that. I'm very frugal, like, because I know I'm running a small promotion and I'm not like trying to make a ton of money, but I got to make money on it, But not overloading a card, not being 4 hours. I run a tight ship, man. Doors 6:45, bell 7:30. I like the main event to be over by 10:10. I like to pay my guys extra to do the work for me with the cleanups, tear down, and then I try to be home by 11, bro, because I got to work at 5 a.m. So
yeah,
I have a nice system. You know what I mean? But
and guys would pop if they walked in the door and I was the one greeting them and telling them what to do, because they knew they were going to get out of there. Right. But then Ian would bitch. He would like, because it would only, like, I would only be running the shows if he was up at Carmine's or if he was here or he was out, East Coast, West Coast. If he went overseas, then I'm running the shows, and he'd come back and he'd be like, that's only a 1 DVD show. That's only 1 disc. I can't, those don't sell.
That kind of blows my mind.
We need at least 3 discs in order for the show to sell. And I'm like, dude, nobody.
That's crazy.
It's like
crazy.
Nothing. And, you know, the show would start on time when I was doing it. Intermission, it'd be like 5 minutes. If people, I'm like, let get in, get out. Let people get on with their let people get on with their damn lives, you know.
I mean, you're throwing in a random Ian 35-minute speech, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't need that shit though, you know, like I like to refer to that as the Ian speech. Like if I come out for 2 minutes and put a guy over, I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna do a full Ian speech here, but you guys had a great fucking match. I just want to let you know. Yeah. But that's it. They're not gonna 25 minutes and shit. But that can derail a show, bro. Like
it can.
It can. One of the things you're not thinking of, but it just fucking right off the fucking rails, dude. You could have had them hot on fire, and then boom, we had 25 minutes. Fucking
and now they're all asleep. Bullshit.
Yeah,
and especially when it be a 30-minute yell at the people in the building that there's not more people there. Well, they're the ones that are there, you know. Why are you yelling at them to? But I digress. So
retrospect.
So the very next night after that Dayton show, on 4/20/2002, you win the MAW title from Ian. Any memories of becoming the Mid-American champion?
His big reasoning was it's gonna be great heat. It's gonna be a great heat, and I'm just okay, but I was super young, like shouldn't really get a world title in your first 2 years or anything like that, but it worked. Like I said, I think Ian liked working me, man. So like we always had fucking good matches and stuff, and I could take all the shit he wanted to do, all the suplexes. Like, and for me, like I want to take all that shit. I'm so ambitious and so gung ho. Funny story. Never really told people about this, but when I won that belt, I was still dabbling in my backyard promotion. So I definitely defended the Mid-American title in my backyard numerous fucking times. Numerous. My cousin challenged for it numerous times.
Nice.
So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a lot of off the record, not charted on cage match title defenses.
Absolutely.
That you had.
That belt was popping up, dude. Well, and plus I'm such a mark at that point. I'm taking that motherfucker wherever, dude. I didn't care. Like I was taking that to the Dark Child promotion and wearing that shit out. Like they're gonna tell me no, like fuck them. But Super Mark first, was wearing that shit all the time.
So it meant winning the title meant a lot to you.
Yeah, well that's the promotion I was going to when I was in middle school, and me and my friend would bring booze and like soda bottles and go outside during intermission. So Mid-American was big about talking shit to the wrestlers, like I used to dislike certain wrestlers, as a fan and call him fucking skull fucker. Like I used to get dirty looks for calling him that. And then when I started wrestling, I'd be worried, like, oh, I wonder if they remember me calling them.
Hope they don't remember that.
So, like, winning the belt for the promotion you were a fucking mark for is fucking, that shit's cool, man. So I always appreciated that. In my later days now, belts are, whatever, dude, it's cool. But it definitely doesn't mean anywhere near now what it did to when 18, 19, 20-year-old kid,
Right.
It's whatever, man. Good paydays are good. Like Ultimate Warrior was like that when they were asking him questions. He'd be like, I just don't remember this stuff, man. It just doesn't, belts is, I just don't remember it. But as you get older, that stuff's, I like being a good worker now. That's one of the things I like the best, being a fucking strong heel or a good baby face and giving young kids good matches and making them look good. Like, for me, man, that's fucking, that's what I like.
Right. So now hopefully you have a better memory than I do with what I'm about to go over here, because it was confusing me as I was looking at Cage Match. So maybe they've got something wrong. Maybe you can remember exactly what's going on here, but on June 15th, 2002, at an IWA show, No Blood, No Guts, No Glory 2002, you lose the MAW title back to Ian, But then Cage Match has your next match, which was like a week later, as you were the champion, you were the MAW champion again, defending against Corporal at a Mid-American show.
Yeah, I got you.
So do you remember what happens there? Is there like, did like Carmine reverse a decision or something?
Yeah, I got you on this. So that was a big show. That was at one of that bigger building that was like Jeffersonville or whatever.
Yeah, that was like one of our first shows. That was one of our first shows in the warehouse after we had lost the barn.
He beat the dog shit out of me in that match where I had 0 offense, but he never pinned me and I never gave up. The ref just ended up stopping it.
Okay, so yeah, it did say a ref stoppage, and so maybe that's the one I was thinking of earlier when I was like, isn't there one where he just was like a squash that he beat just beat the fuck out of you? So it's that one. Okay.
So Carmine overrules him, you know, but I had like owned the old original Mid-American title. I had gotten it from Carmine and held onto it, dude. So when he took that belt, I brought back the original Mid-American title, and that's the belt I was defending, you know. So I think we even did a double belt match eventually type thing.
Okay.
But that's the story behind that is I brought the original belt back, and he had that replica one, you know, down by him. So I was defending the original belt while he had that one. I was a mark for shit like that in wrestling. I'm pretty sure I pitched that one or something like that one because I was like, dude, I got
you had HBK Razor Ramon in your head as you're doing it.
Yes, absolutely, dude. I love like replicating little shit like that. I did that in JCW too at one point. The JBL thing where he owned Shawn Michaels and was making him do stuff. Cabana, he had control over me because I didn't want to expose my face so my family would know I sell drugs. So I had to be deputy weed man with him for a while. So I like taking fucking good angles and a little something different to them, you know.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of that shit, dude.
Okay, yeah. So that definitely that explains it. Then I'm glad you had the memory of it because I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, you lose the title and then you're the champion defending the title. Like the very how what?
I want to say he beat me up for like 25 fucking minutes, dude.
So if it's the one that I was thinking of earlier, I thought maybe the first time that you wrestled was when he did that, but no, I guess it was this one. It was a prolonged beating.
Yeah, a lot of suplexes, all that shit, but it was good. I don't know, it's tough, man. I was a kid back then, you know, like whatever.
The body bounces back quicker when you're 20.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it'd be way different now. You
know. So shortly after that is the 2002 King of the Death Matches. Was that the first year that you were in the? Was 2002?
Is that me and Nikki? Nick Gage?
No, that's the following year.
Okay.
So this one, you make it to the semifinals. You beat Roland Hard, you beat Corporal Robinson, and you lost to Nate Webb in the semifinals. I had Nate on the podcast quite a while back, and he talked about this match. I guess there was it was a barbed wire canvas match. Where I guess the barbed wire was on the canvas, and he talked about how bad he hated it.
Yeah,
if memory serves, wasn't it like almost like a grid shape,
like a checkerboard? It
sort of looked like when the football practice and you're running the strings or whatever, but you
can't hit the ropes anymore. You can't do anything, you know, like
because you're just tripping over the damn barbed wire.
Yeah, you're trying to run over fucking barbed wire, man. But
yeah, I think Nate said like
fucking terrible.
Was it like you guys went out to the concrete? You guys were bumping out on the concrete and out on the floor.
It's better
because it was better than tripping in the ring. And
I had nice boots. I was fucking shredding my boots and stuff like that, you know. Like, plus, I mean, now I'm thinking about that. Like, I'm thinking of the canvas. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna put fucking 50 holes in my fucking canvas. You know, I mean, his canvas is kind of trashed. At that
if
point,
memory serves, we had never done that match before, and I don't think we ever did it again afterwards.
He tried something like that.
So it's one of those, much better on paper and in your head than
he tried again. Plainfield, Indiana.
They did it again.
He tried doing the on the canvas, but then he tried to like make a top. He'd call it some kind of London Bridge barbed wire match. Dude, it fucking. I hate certain gimmicks you get like are great. Certain things you get a curveball and you get that, and you're like, what the fuck are me and Corporal gonna do with this, man? You know, like what the fuck? But yeah, a couple of times where you get those canvas ones are like the top, like so. There's barbed wire there, and then at the top there was like a barbed wire or like a net on the top, so like take away the whole ring. Like, what are we doing? You know? But sorry, carry on. I go off.
No, that's. I like getting that's where the podcast, that's the meat and potatoes of the podcast when you guys have something
overthinking and trying to be creative when you don't have to be, and just like I get it, but it's just like, yeah, you're overdoing it. You didn't need.
Well, it's another one of those learning experiences that you're talking about.
Oh man, dude,
learn from others' mistakes and know not to do it yourself.
Let me jump around here. Were you there the time Bobby Eaton and Jamie Dundee were there when they fucking blew up because he didn't have his money? That's my fucking cocaine money. How the fuck do you not have Bobby Eaton's money? All you guys, all you young guys, you see this? Fuck Ian Rotten. Don't fucking work for him. He's gonna fuck you over.
Wild, well, that was one of the shows. That was a show that Ian wasn't there, and I thought Eaton, I thought Bobby and Jamie were gonna kill me.
Yeah, they were pissed, dude.
They were so pissed, yelling at, and then like, luckily at some point, I think Bobby Eaton, like a light went off in his head, kind of thing, and like he stopped Jamie at one point, and then he pulled me to a side, and he was like, "Hey man, I know you're just doing what you're told, and I know that
he was very
we're not mad at you." We're not mad at you. And I'm like, well, thank God.
I was on that show, buddy. I was in the corner and I was just like, oh fuck.
But I thought that was one of the nights I thought I was doomed at that point,
Yeah, that was crazy, bro.
He was crazy. So worked
I remember
up.
That shit. That's a story like never forget story, you know what I mean? That's crazy. It's going off.
And then he tried to like fine him for being drunk. Because he didn't have, because there wasn't the money. So he had like told Patty, tell them that they're being fined, they're not getting all their money because they're fined because they're too fucked up to. And I'm like,
oh man,
we're gonna enforce that for the first time in the history of the company now. The first time we're gonna.
Yeah,
all of a sudden we're gonna do that one, huh? Okay, and
crazy.
So after the 2002 King of the Death matches, you defeat Tarek the Great to win the IWA light heavyweight title for the second time. That was on August the 3rd, 2002. Do you have any memories of winning the title a second time?
Still no belt.
Still no belt.
Both times I had the IWA mid lightweight, there was no belt. I never actually held a belt.
Nice.
So that's a bummer. But I like Tarek. Tarek was a good dude. I like being around him and stuff, man.
Well, if you look by the Candido, if you look by the Candido figure behind me on the thing, that's the IWA, that's the light heavyweight title as it ended up being afterwards. So it was just it was a WCW cruiserweight title that just had IWA stickers put on it. And I'm like,
I was still
how goddamn Bush League,
I still was bummed. I never even got that, bro. I would have took that.
You would have gladly have taken that.
Yeah. Having nothing, you know what I'm saying? At least like, hey, I got something. But
I don't know how you could like have a championship on your shows and have no title belt for it.
I don't know, dude. It was a weird time. It was very EWR time. Extreme Warfare Revenge Wrestling sim game. It was very that time in wrestling, dude.
Yeah, I never played that game. I was a generation ahead of that one where it was Rampage Wrestling. And me and my friends played Rampage Wrestling out the ass. And that was a great game. I didn't really get into the EWR one. Like Manawa would play it, and then he would he would send me screenshots where like he would do stuff with IWA and he'd try to like do like how the shows were in IWA. And he would just set like every show he would get
terrible, right?
It would be a running joke because like every show it would be like Jim Fannin is out there way too much.
Way too much. He's overused.
He's overused, overexposed.
Yeah,
and like that's one of the things when I've been going back and doing this podcast and going back and looking at some of those results.
Yeah,
there were fucking shows where like there's 6 matches and I'm in 4 of them, and they're all like right in a row. And Manawa's like, yeah, I would manage so and so, and I'd have like one outfit on because I tried to color coordinate with everybody. So I'd have to like get into the back and like do a quick change where I'm like, okay, now I got my second shirt or my second tie or whatever.
I definitely recall seeing that in the past. I recall seing that in the back.
And I'm sitting there trying to tie the tie and get back, right back out there because I'm always the heel, so I'm always out first.
Yeah,
I'm like, God damn it,
leading the charge.
Maybe that's why Ian would give all those damn speaches just to give me enough time to do the Vanna White wardrobe change at the back, and some of those shows would be crazy because like out back. I'd be like, oh my God, the people want to shoot me because they're like, please, I don't want to see him out here again. What the fuck?
It's like hearing you him saying like, oh, it's not enough content. It's not enough fucking for the DVDs. That fucking blows my mind, dude. Like, it's just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah,
like,
he was totally
that was the thought process.
That was the thought. Everything was about the the DVD.
Yeah,
he did not. No thought was put into ticket sales. No thought was put into like just find a building that will run and it let us do what we do. And the DVD was that was the only thought in his head. And that was why he was always so gung-ho with wanting to kill anybody that like tried to record on their phone or would put a clip up online and be like he'd want to go and do the like Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back where he'd just be able to find a database of addresses and show up and be like, motherfucker, are you the one who posted this match?
It's super backwards for me, like, but we make a little cash off IWTV. That's cool. But like we live off ticket sales, we draw, we advertise. That's what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
Nowadays, at least, got to do that shit, But maybe that's why he struggled more as the streaming came about, It's not probably not the same payout or.
Yeah, once the DVD sales dried up, it was a short road to the end from there. Sure.
True story.
So a week after you win the imaginary invisible IWA light heavyweight title, the very next week, maybe this is the 2 title thing because it said like you defeated Ian in Mid-American to like get the title back.
Unify
and they called it a ultimate barbed wire match is how they had it on Cage Match. So
that's
somebody that was for somebody that was not there. What is a ultimate barbed wire match?
It was like barbed wire ropes, barbed wire ladder, barbed wire chairs, barbed wire bat, all But that's the one where he knocked me out. He hit me with an open chair, and the top of it caught me in the back of the head, and I had the fucking brain reset thing, like super foggy, like fuck up, I had to get taken home after and shit. I'm trying to go hang out with everybody after, and they're like, oh no, you gotta go home. But I'm fucking young, but yeah, he did like that was like the first like bad concussion I ever had, really,
okay, so he knocked you out, but then you still were able to go on to win.
I finished the match. Yeah.
You finished the match and had enough. Did he have to like lead you through, or did you have enough memory to?
I think it kind of happened towards the endish too, maybe, or like maybe he was beating me up at the like after the finish, he was beating me up or something. To go home happy, something like that. Like obviously don't have the greatest memory of this one. I've seen the video, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure I even have it, but I'm pretty sure that's the Grand Slam one, that ultimate one there. I'm pretty sure, because that's the blow off, you know, for the MAW side of the feud, I would assume.
Okay.
But yeah, he was like an open plastic chair, you know what I'm saying? Where the top of it's what caught me, you know? It was weird. And he got heat, I think. People were like, what the fuck are you hitting with a chair like that for? If I remember correctly. Right. Numerous people were questioning him, like, why the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, so wouldn't be the first time, that's for sure.
He took advantage of me for a while, and then at a JCW in Evansville, he tries to cut me with a fucking can in just a regular match, and I fucking snapped. No, what the fuck are you doing? Got in the back and was like, what the fuck, man? We didn't call that. Oh, I'm just trying to work with you. That's not fucking working with me. You're trying to cut me with a can. Like, what the fuck? They're throwing garbage. There's, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not the fucking place, bro. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. After that, like, you know what I mean? Like, the respect level kind of like changed a little bit. You know what I mean? Once you kind of finally stood up to him a little bit. This is way later. I just wanted to throw that in there. But once you finally kind of step up to him and show him like, no, fuck this dude, and you kind of like boss up on him, he like, you know.
Well, I definitely don't have any. I definitely don't have any Juggalo stuff on here. So you can put that story. You can put that story in at any point. You know. Do you remember like maybe what year that was in?
Me and Silas were a tag team, so that's when we were doing the stuff with Trent Acid. So like, I'm not good with years, but I had been brought in to be a lackey basically, where we were just the altar boys. It was me, Silas, Trent Acid. So we were doing a tag. It was me and him against Ian and Lane as the Bloody Brothers at that point. So
okay, so that might have been like 07, 08, maybe somewhere around there.
Evansville Coliseum on like a little one of them JCW tour type things that we would do, you know. So like, I worked him a few times there. Like, he kind of sucked being on tour with. Like, one of the times, like, the gas money bag, somebody stole it from him, you know, like.
Sure.
You know, come on, bro. Like, nobody stole that shit, bro. Stop it. But he just figured he could rip off Psychopathic, I would assume, and get some extra money out of him type shit. But I mean, like, who's going in his bag to steal the gas money? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always super suspect of that one, dude.
Well, and it was always, you know, he would lose money at the casino, and then the stated reason, Mickey, that dumbass Mickey left my fanny pack with all the money in the bathroom. Well, one, why does she have your
why the fuck don't
fanny pack with the money? Why don't you have it? You know, and it was always somebody else's fault. Oh, somebody stole the money. You know, what was the dude's name on one of the King of the Death matches? It was like Cowboy from Hell or something. He told everybody, Cowboy from Hell stole my shit. Probably not, you know. You know, right? Just
but it's just weird. You've heard a story like that. I've heard a story like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he kind of all right, but you know, like he's just saying, like our like, it was like me, Human Tornado, Zach Gowen, Mickey, Scott D'Amore, maybe, like nobody who was gonna take fucking, you know, like, it's one of those things. It's just like you rolled your eyes and you're like, all right, whatever, dude.
Right.
But what are you gonna do? I like appreciate the chances he gave me and stuff, but like, I don't respect his business practices later in life and stuff like that. I think he really fucking lost, like, I can't think how to explain it, but like really lost the cause, or like what we're doing and like what he's doing, you know. And just like you said, if it's that gambling shit, bro, like,
right,
fuck you up, man.
And just not being able to stay out of your own way. There was.
Well, you can't, if you're not doing that great, you can't keep adding names. You can't keep adding big ticket type fucking like expense, and I don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, it just, dude, like being a promoter now and just trying to reflect on some of that shit, like, it blows my fucking mind, dude, on how like all these people are booked. There's 45 guys booked. A couple of them are making 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, like, fuck, dude, fuck.
Yeah.
Crazy. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, hey, these little sidebars are what the people tune in for.
Yeah, that's the promoter in me, where I just look at it and I'm just like, oh my god, the expense after expense after expense, dude. You're just fucking yourself. Can you leave yourself a little room to make some money, bro? Like, you don't have to have
And like he would always wait until the very last goddamn minute to do to buy a plane ticket. And it's like, you know that you got to get that shit. You got to get that shit 3-4 weeks in advance, 2 weeks in advance at least. You know, and then he would wait. He'd wait until like 2 days before the show. We can't really have another no show. Can you buy a last second plane ticket to get so and so out here? And be like, motherfucker, why didn't you tell me this 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, you know, scammy shit like that shit bothers me type stuff. Like I hate that shit because I mean, like, so I run a big tournament, right? I do Insane 8, so we do a pre-sale. We usually sell our ringside, all of it. You know, that money pays for the venue. If I'm flying anybody, it's going for weapons. It's going towards everything we fucking need. And then the rest, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, how do you blow that? Like this, like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. How do you not leave yourself any room to make some fucking money? Or like, hey, I'm only gonna book this amount of guys. Like King of the Death, like you're booking 24 fucking guys. I get it, DVDs, but I mean, like, that's 24 paydays that aren't, you know, light paydays. Those are fucking legit paydays, man.
Right.
Like, I like an 8-guy tournament. Yeah, to pay 8 guys. I don't want to pay 24. Fuck that. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. It's crazy in retrospect being a promoter and not just a wrestler. And you look back and you're just like, holy fuck, man. Like, you left yourself no room to fucking make anything back ever. You're just constantly fighting to stay afloat.
Right. Absolutely. The number of times, you know, that a guy, he'd fly somebody in on a one-way ticket, and then they'd have to stay on his couch and stay with him and wait for the Smart Mark sales for a week.
Man,
here, okay, crazy. Now I've got the payment from, you know, Smart Mark sent me some money from the, you know, and they're having, you know, and then Smart Mark's having to bust their ass to get the thing out immediately, so it could start selling, so that, you know, because they don't want this guy to be trapped on Ian's couch for 2 weeks, you know.
Me and Serrano, we had Thanksgiving at Ian's house one time, bro, because we went down there for one of them Thanksgiving shows. So one of my Thanksgiving was a fucking rotten Thanksgiving, bro. Legit. It was all right. It was fine. I was happy to have Thanksgiving, but you know, you never really think, hey, I'm fucking having Thanksgiving dinner at Ian's because I'm fucking taking bookings on Thanksgiving. You know,
right?
Fucking crazy.
Yep. But all right, so we'll get back to some more of these matches. IWA 6th anniversary show, so October of 2002, you lose the light heavyweight imaginary belt to Nate Webb. Then like a month later, you lose the Mid-American title back to Ian. Any memories of either of those where...
I think maybe Nate Webb like gave me a leg drop off a ladder through a table or something for a finish on that one. And the other one I don't really recall, you know. Some random stuff. But yeah. I didn't say that Nate thing was that, but that's when he started wearing those yellow and purple pants too, I think. Right around that time.
So then we get to the other one. Then we get to the 2003 King of the Death matches. You lose in the first round to Nick Gage.
Yes. Do you remember?
Were you disappointed going from making the semifinals the year before to like being out in the first round the next year?
Nah, I was booked the next day already somewhere else. So
okay, so then you had no choice.
I want to come in. So if you remember, there was a lot of talk of that, like that King of the Death being on Samurai TV or something like that. Or if you were around that, but that one was maybe supposed to go on some TV thing in Japan. So I've never really taken my shirt off for like big bumps or anything because it's kind of fat. So just that one, I go, oh, Nikki, yeah, take my fucking shirt off on the superplex. I had him kill me, you know what I'm saying? We were tearing it up. But then, like, people thought it was real, that he took advantage of me. And then there was, like, a weird IWA, CZW, like, heat that started from that with, like, Hero Engage.
Well, I think, there was already, like,
okay,
at that one, there was already, like, a big feud had already started. And they brought in, like, there was, like, a bus tour that came from the East Coast. Right? So there was like a ton of CZW fans there. And yeah, that was like the whole tournament was basically like built almost as a IWA versus CZW. So it was ticking me off because I was Mr. IWA, Mr. Wave the flag, the highest, the loudest, the hardest. And, you know, it was just pissing me off that he was putting CZW guys over, and he's mad. And I'm like, I was like, they're not going to put us over. So why the fuck are we putting them over? And he's like, well, this is how you're supposed to do it. You know, if you want to have a legitimate angle and some heat and everything, they got it. And so when Nick Gage beat Mitch Page at that time, I was losing my fucking mind at ringside that whole match, screaming and yelling. And I was like, I was so goddamn mad. And I've talked about, like, I was that way on everything that we did. Cause when we brought in Samoa Joe and put him over Chris Hero, I still to this day have not watched that match, will not watch that match. I was like, how dare we bring in and put Ring of Honor over us? Fuck, you know, they're not going to bring IWA into their show and put us over, you know? So what the fuck are we doing putting that? Like, no, we should be the kings of our domain. Why the fuck are we making CZW look good? Why the fuck are we making Ring of Honor
where you can keep them strong, man?
And it's like, God damn it. But neither here nor there. So you lose to Nick Gage, but you don't care because you had other bookings anyway.
Yeah,
you don't come back to IWA until 2004, King of the Death. Was that a choice that you made? Was that just timing? Like you just had other shit to do that probably was paying you better?
Paying better, but I was doing some extra work and stuff too. So I was, you know, I just getting away from it a little bit. I was still doing stuff, but just not the same level of like IWA. You know what I mean, with the death matches. So more of a slow. I got to do like I got to be like a cop that walked Edge and Lita around when they were feuding with Kane. I got to be a fucking Undertaker's druid one time, bro, and he came out where you hold the torch. I've had Vince McMahon, Shane, and Stephanie all run a segment I've been a part of. I've done all kinds of cool shit there. With Big Show and Floyd Mayweather, I was an ESPN photographer on the side of the ring taking fake pictures. I used to get a bunch of extra work at one point, dude. It was cool shit.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. When they brought that ECW stuff back, me and Cabana each appeared. He appeared as a ballerina or a fairy in a dress, and they dressed me up as Beetlejuice on Sabu's entrance. I'm fucking doing this on the show. So nice. Extra work was cool, man. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the time.
And I'm probably pretty sure it was paying a hell of a lot better than anything the IWA payday would.
Spot, free catering, and that's when it was cool to do extra work because the fucking stars were all still there. You know what I mean? Taker and guys like that, where extra work was still awesome, dude.
Okay. So in that 2004 King of the Death, you lose in the first round to Corporal. So 2 years in a row, you lose in the first round. You end up doing a couple of matches on the Highland shows before the 2005 King of the Death. Do you have any memories of being at the Highland building?
Yeah, I would do those because they were closer. I'm saying at this point I was tapped out on super far drives for IWA and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You just get to a point where you're just like, yeah, it's fucking far. You know, at this time I'm probably a couple of years in, so in my state I'm probably making better money. I'm getting different. You know what I'm saying? I'm still doing other stuff, but you know, with the extra work, things like that, you know, there's a chance you could do something in your mind at least. You know. That's when you're still sending fucking videotape to Tommy Dreamer, working in talent relations and hoping you get a hold of him and shit, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole long gone era, dude.
All right. Well, we're going to jump ahead to the 2006 King of the Death matches where it's the first time you make the finals. That's the King of the Death that Mitch Page wins. You beat Flash Flanagan. You beat Dinty Moore. You beat Ian, and then you lose. It was like a 4-way or something in the finals where you end up losing. Any specific memories of making it to the finals the first time?
Oh, that was cool, man. He told me that he was putting me in the finals because I was different than what he's been doing or the guys he's been putting over. So he wanted to mix it up and put somebody different in there. So that's what he told me. I was different guy to put in there. So I think not jumping ahead, but I think even next year after that, I might have been in the finals or something like that.
Semifinals. Yeah, we can jump to that one. So 2007, you make it to the semifinals. You beat Danny Havoc.
My boy.
And then in the second round, you win the IWA Deathmatch title from Drake Younger, and you lose it the same night when you lost to Corporal in the semifinals. What's your favorite memory of being the IWA Deathmatch champion for like an hour?
It was winning it from Drake, so that's very early in Drake's, come up, and then same with Danny. He was established. Like those two are probably two of my favorite King of the Deathmatch matches right there. Like I'm at a point where I'm fucking good now. I have a certain look to myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm no longer just like a skinny kid in boots. I'm fucking established. I'm just better. You know what I'm saying? So those matches hit really good. The one with Corp is the one I was just telling you about with that London fucking Bridge barbed wire match where we're so handcuffed and we can't do anything, I think we ended up working into taking some kind of a boot camp into the net, and just being done. But like handcuffed, couldn't do nothing. So that part sucked. But I was on pace that night for a fucking banger because, Corp was my boy and stuff. So like you look at the lineup, oh, Grant, oh, Drake and Corp, like it's fucking a money night. But then you get the curveball on the gimmick and you go, oh.
Now, we've never talked about stuff like this on the podcast before, but I'll bring it up here.
Sure.
Saying how you're wrestling, you got Danny, you got Drake, you got Corporal. So on these tournament nights, are you getting paid more the farther you go in the tournament?
Yeah, he would,
to where you're actually it's or are you sitting there going, I don't want to fucking advance and get taken advantage of and I don't want 3 matches for the price of one.
Like I was a guy who was never making like great money there, you know what I'm saying? But like what I would make there, he would double and triple it up for me. Okay. So I would get more the more I went. It wasn't just like, hey, here's $100 for all 3 or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So he was good about that. Like if one good thing about him is like if he had the money, he would take care of you. You know what I'm saying? But more often than not, he might fuck up the money, or then you're getting $20 or something, or you're getting something just to get something. I always appreciate it, but you know what I'm saying? Like if he had the cash though, he was taking care of everybody. He wasn't like that. You know what I mean? He would just put himself in a spot where he didn't have the fucking cash because something stupid or whatever. But he was a giving dude like that, He wasn't like maybe like it might be different for other people. I don't know that. I technically I'm not one of his homegrown guys. You know what I mean? I was an out of towner guy to come down there, so it might be different, it might not be. I know like my home guys, things are a little different with people I bring in. When it comes to stuff like that.
And then also in 2007, you actually get invited into the TPI. You lose to Devin Moore in the first round. Did you take any pride in actually being in the TPI tournament? Had it lost its luster by 2007 to the guys?
That one was in Highland. I don't know if somebody canceled and I got added. You know what I'm saying? But because of my proximity, I think the Highland, I'm in Milwaukee, you don't got to fly me. I'm fucking there. Probably already an expensive card. You could probably add me for way cheaper. So I would assume probably something like that, and that's cool. Like I'm always down. Like I've never tried to like be some like fancy wrestler. I'm not a Quackenbush or a Claudio. I'm a fucking American brawler who can wrestle and work, and I've never been Mr. fucking technical. But I did like that match, and I like doing it. The one like you probably touch on this maybe, but Revolution Strong Style when I worked neck row.
I had skipped over that one.
Yeah,
but yeah,
so
that was
2006.
Yeah, 2006.
We're trading some stuff, and I go to kick him in the thigh, but I kick him in the balls. And he told me that's one of the hardest he's ever been kicked in the balls. And he's like, I need a minute. So, like, I always took great pride in that. that I fucking was able to slow him down even a little bit, you know. But
Nice.
I like that match. That was a cool fucking match. I've never really done a ton of strong style, but to be in that tournament with him was very cool. Like if I had to rate which one I thought was cooler, that one to me was cooler than, you know, the random fucking.
Okay.
But I don't think many dudes have been in most of the tournaments that he's had. You know what I'm saying? Like who can
Right.
fucking do all of them type shit. So I've always liked that too. So some of them original hybrid fellas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that you can take some pride in that for sure.
Yeah.
So last one I'm going to talk about, just going through results. April Blood Showers 2009, you wrestled Dingo for the IWA Mid-South title. Do you remember, was I managing Dingo by this point?
I don't remember this match either.
Okay.
Where
because I don't remember it, and I was like sitting there going, and I'm like, this might have been because I mean I was managing Dingo around that time. I don't know exactly when I started managing Dingo. I'm pretty sure I was managing by that point, and I'm like going through everything. I was like, damn, this might be the only time that we like actually worked together.
Maybe that match didn't happen though too, because I don't even remember wrestling him, dude, to be honest.
Well, I mean, the match happened because there was a result for it.
Okay.
Like so,
I don't remember
I
mean,
cage match could have been wrong.
Is it that weird? Is this that weird venue that like Hoosiers was filmed in that they had a
no?
Okay.
It might have been Joliet. So like not too far from like Morris.
I don't know why I wouldn't remember that. Yeah, because I remember most of the Joliets. I don't know why I wouldn't fucking remember that at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it was April. I just wrote down the name of the show was April Blood Showers. I'm thinking it might have been Joliet. Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah,
but it said that you
one.
wrestled Dingo, and I'm like, my God, this might be the only time, because none of this other stuff we never crossed paths. Because I was ring announcing, so I wasn't managing Mitch in that finals of the King of the Death. And so I was like sitting there going, I don't think we ever really technically
worked. If it happened, I legit have zero memory of it. And that's a rare one because I can remember most shit, but I don't recall me and that dude ever fucking having a match or like talking together about putting a match together. I can't even reference. So I mean, maybe happened.
Well, I had to like, I haven't had Dingo on here. I'd love to have him on here as a guest. But I had to like apologize to him. We did a Ask Me Anything kind of thing that ended up going like 6 hours long. But the guy, the Skull Crusher's kid, was asking me all these questions that he'd been dying to ask me. One of the questions, was about like the run with Dingo, and I was like, I need to apologize to Dingo because this is right before I quit. So like I was 1.5 foot out the door at this point. I was checked out. I didn't want to be there. My heart wasn't in it. I have like no memories of hardly any of it. There's like maybe 2-3 things that I remember. And so I was like looking at this going, I have no memory of this whatsoever.
Me either, dude. Mandela effect, brother.
Yeah. And hey, it could be very easily that cage match had it wrong, because they have gotten matches. They have gotten matches wrong in the past, but I don't remember
nothing
that
on that one, dude. Yeah, nothing on that one.
Nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna just ask you a couple like make a short list kind of thing.
Fire them off.
So you've mentioned a little bit, you just mentioned how like the Drake and the Danny Havoc were like some of your favorite. Just give me, they don't have to be IWA matches, even though this is an IWA podcast. They don't have to be IWA matches. Give me like your favorite non-death match that you did, and like you can even go like maybe 2 non-death match and 2 death match, other than the Danny Havoc and Drake that you mentioned. That would are like your favorite matches. If somebody's not familiar with Dysfunction and listening to this podcast, these are what show who you are.
From IWA, I really liked that early match I had with Isaiah. That was fucking cool, man. You know, like that's a really early splash into the company one. So that one is like a non-death match one. That one means a lot, dude. I liked the run I had. The one finals where it was like me, Masada, maybe Necro, and somebody else. I had a good run.
That's the 2009 King of the Death.
Like I look strong as fuck against like OMG. You know what I'm saying? It was in my own like. So that one I would say, you know, is definitely one of my top ones for IWA. Deathmatch wise, and then like that Drake match, dude, and then those Danny Havoc matches, like you just referenced them, but those are definitely some of my favorite ones because at the time those were some of my better friends in the company too, especially Grant. Like most of the stuff he did at IWA, I would go with him there. You know what I'm saying, or some kind of travel together. So he was my guy there. Outside of like IWA, I got to wrestle like Axe in a singles match in my first 5 years, dude, and it went great. And he's in a corner. I charge, puts up a boot, and gives me a lariat. But I took the inside out bump for him and come to the back, and he's like, "Oh, that was great, but you didn't have to do that for me." So I've had a bunch of cool matches like that. Where not
okay,
IWA,
what promotion was that with?
That was for Great Lakes Wrestling here in Milwaukee with Dave Hero. You know, he has a lot of the name guys come in. But I got to wrestle Demolition like 3 or 4 different times, man. I was very fortunate like with that. Like where I live, like there's a lot of wrestling, you know, a lot of different stuff was going on over the years. Like right now it's probably the most it's ever been. So there's all kinds of stuff to do. Lots of like young kids around here. There's a couple good schools, like Hornswoggle has a school, Frank DeFalco has a school. So there's plenty of good dudes around here. There's plenty of shows. So like I'm super like pumped about my area, you know. Some areas have like no wrestling scene and we have like a sweet thriving.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll touch on that. I think, you know, and then deathmatch wise too, like I got to work Danny Havoc and CZW in a main event. That one was fucking great. GCW, I main evented against Nick Gage at one of the venues I had in Milwaukee that I got for him. That shit was fucking awesome. Anything I do with GCW is fucking, you know, the JCW stuff I did in the past was good. You know, I've had a good run, dude. I have no complaints. You know,
you definitely had a good run, and we're gonna finish with just a couple of days ago, as we're recording this, just a couple of days ago, it was announced that Dysfunction is going to be a member of the class of 2026 GCW Deathmatch Hall of Fame. You're going to be joining Mitch and Roland in there from last year's class. What do you want to say about becoming a Hall of Famer? And was this something that you were expecting? Did it catch you off guard? How did you find out? Like,
yeah, I got a whole story for you on it actually.
Yeah.
So one cool thing is that I'm going into like probably one of the more prestigious deathmatch Hall of Fames that there is at fucking 42, which is cool because I still have gas in the tank and stuff, and I'm not like, so I'm still doing stuff for GCW occasionally also, so I'm still going to do that, so that's sweet. I had teamed with Matt Tremont at their one night only in Berwyn show against the Vendel guys, Otis Koger and Napier. So after that match, they surprised me and they fucking out of nowhere, you know, gave me the invite. Hey, we'd love to have you join the Hall of Fame. So I got to have this cool moment in front of a fucking packed house that was super hot. So the best part about Berwyn too is I'm a Packers guy, you know, Chicago, I get fucking mega heat there. So super heat when I come out. They jump us, then they have to cheer me as a babyface, which was fucking awesome too, you know. So at the end too, like we have our football heat, but like nothing but respect from the crowd. I fucking had a tear or two fucking shed because they caught me off guard. Just super appreciative, you know what I mean? Like,
so they did it in front of the crowd at that show?
Yeah, they had Tremont get on the mic and say they wanted to offer me a spot in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. So it's very cool, man.
Okay, well, here I thought it was like breaking news just today.
It is like they did it after the show went off the air, so it was like a private, not a private, but you know what I'm saying, like a dark match thing where it wasn't on the pay-per-view. I don't think. So.
Okay, but like I didn't see like word leak. People in the, you would think people in the audience would have.
Yeah, I'm just a regular dude.
So
yeah,
that's
right.
cool that they did that.
Yeah, it's good.
And you're going
I get to
in
represent America.
You're
it's
the first
guy.
American. You're the first American announced.
The OG hybrid. It's good. It's good. No, like my kid's a wrestler. He's been wrestling for like 2 years now, so like it's super pumped. Like he loves GCW and stuff like that. Most of my kids in wrestling love GCW, so still getting to do stuff for them and then doing that, like just it's good shit, man. Super appreciative. I like Brett. Like I met Brett in CZW, years and years ago, and he's always been a good dude to me. So, like Adam Pearce has this saying, like treat people fair, treat people with respect. Something else, I can't remember it verbatim, but that saying is fucking like money for wrestling. Like don't fucking be a dick. It'll come back in like good ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like I used to be a dick when I was younger, but I kind of changed a lot over the last 15 years. I'm like nowhere near the same guy I was, and I'm happy with that change. Like I don't really drink a lot, stuff like that. So super happy with the person I've become.
Nice.
Yeah, it could be worse.
And yeah, I've been amazed by how welcoming Brett has been to me on stuff.
He's a great dude.
When they put Mitch and Roland in last year, I legitimately didn't even know if I'd be welcomed in the building to go and be with Mitch and celebrate and be there to support him. I was sure that because of who I'm associated with and things I did in the past and said on message boards and everything else that I wouldn't be welcome. And the fact that he let me go up there and be in the ring with Nick and Mitch and accept on Roland's behalf and everything. I mean, I'm a fan for life now.
Yeah. He embraces the history, bro. He doesn't deny it. You know what I'm saying? He's very good about that shit. Like embracing deathmatch history, past promotions. He's fucking like A+, I think, dude. He's a good dude. Very good dude. Nothing but good things to say about him. Some people don't like him, whatever, they can fuck off. Brett's always fucking done great by me. Always will. That's my guy. Big fan.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell the fans that are listening to this, how can they watch the Hall of Fame ceremony?
I believe that's on Triller with a GCW subscription. He said he has a match for me. I don't know what it's going to be, so I'll definitely be working. But if you're looking for something like a different fucking alternative wrestling, some hardcore, but more storylines, weird shit, ICW Milwaukee is my promotion. It's on Facebook, YouTube, stuff like that. So if you're looking for a deathmatch company, but doesn't completely focus on that, we do a lot of storylines and use a lot of good young talent. Like it's like an IWA, but like tightened up, dude. Just one death match. We got some good angles, good wrestlers, good stories. One thing I've always said is like you can have a whole roster full of Kurt Angles, but it's still gonna get boring at some point. You gotta have a mixture of guys. Not everybody can be the best because he doesn't stand out then when everybody's the same. Everybody should, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody's got to be the greatest technical wrestler. You need entertainers. You need bigger guys. You need smaller guys. You need different characters. All that shit blended is a good show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was one of the good things to learn from IWA is we tried to have every style represented on our show so that there would at least be something on the show that would appeal to everyone. Maybe not everyone at the same time, but something that everyone could be like, I really like that.
I said there's good and bad to learn, you know what I'm saying? But that's definitely one of the good was the different styles, stuff like that is just the overbooking so many fucking guys. But man, like I'm a big fan of like that style of having different stuff, man. Like so big on that, the variety is I don't know. Like No Holds Barred is good stuff, but like I wouldn't want to run a promotion where it's just all death matches all the time. You know what I'm saying? I like writing different stuff. I like doing different stuff. So Deathmatch 2 is like it's great, but like I just like doing other things besides it. You know what I'm saying? I like
And you said yours is ICW Milwaukee. Is that the full name of it?
Yeah, just a couple ICWs came around after, so we fucking just added the Milwaukee so there wouldn't be a fucking confusion. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And you said that that's on like Facebook. Is there
Yeah,
Twitter,
you can look it up. ICW
Instagram?
Milwaukee on Facebook. There's an Instagram. There's all that shit. You just gotta look it up. One of my young kids runs the fucking Instagram and all that stuff. I'm not fucking in with that shit. He runs that.
Yeah. Okay.
I run the Facebook. I'm the old guy, right? Yeah.
Right. We can handle Facebook, but all this,
yeah.
TikTok and everything else is beyond me. I try to use it, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll let the young fellas handle it.
Anything else that you want to plug other than your Hall of Fame and then the ICW shows that you're doing up there in
Milwaukee?
Here's
one little quick thing. We were talking about Paul Heyman and stuff. One of the times I did extra work, he's sitting there, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta meet him. I completely faved Chris Benoit, walked right past him, acted like he didn't exist. I'm like, Paul Heyman, it's so nice to meet you. But that's my first time there, and he's there, and it's just like little kid, like, oh man, that guy I look up to as a booker and the ECW stuff. I just wanted to toss that one in. But like for me personally, I don't really put myself over. I'm fucking old. I'm on the way out. I got a few years left wrestling, so I don't have personal stuff. I just put over my promotion and the kids I help get better.
Okay, you don't. Is there any ICW T-shirts or anything that people can buy?
So if you go to so we sell a lot of our merch at the shows, but if you there's a big cartel store or something like that. So if you went on the ICW Instagram, you can just hit them up with a message. The guy who runs the merch store runs the Instagram, so it's all connected. So all that, if you're really looking for something, it's easy to find with a search. I'm just not super keen on it, and I don't push tons of shit. So
I am the opposite.
I'm a different guy.
you are about to. You don't have to stick around if you don't want to listen to all the plugs I've got coming up here to finish this thing off. But it's.
I'm gonna go eat dinner. Actually,
yeah. So
I'm waiting.
you can take off if you have to. Right. Thank you for joining me.
Yes.
Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. Well deserved, my friend. Well deserved.
Jim Fannin. Thank you for having me, sir. I appreciate it. It was a great time.
Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Yep, you too. And this is going to wrap up another edition of Fannin's Flashbacks. I'd like to thank Dysfunction for joining me today. Remember to check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/sportsfannin for IWA clips, matches, and these podcasts. When you get to the YouTube channel, start by hitting subscribe and then look around and like some videos. But more importantly, if you have a subscription to IWTV, Independent Wrestling Television, ran by Smart Mark Video, please go watch the podcast there. Let them know that they made the right choice by giving me the opportunity to put the podcast on there with added clips of matches and promos talked about on the episode. Episode 24 guest Prophet of Ash puts a ton of time into editing these shows now in order to find the proper footage to add to the viewing experience. So please go tweet him on Twitter, Prophet of Ash, and let him know that you appreciate this. Tell him thank you for adding the added footage if you're enjoying it. Tweet IWTV and Smart Mark Video and tell them thank you for adding Fannin's Flashbacks to their lineup. They didn't have to do this, and I'm appreciative. Hopefully you're appreciative if you're watching and enjoying these. So just let them know that you're watching and that you're happy that they did this. Who knows, maybe it'll give somebody else a chance to have their stuff on here as well. If you're not already, please subscribe to IWTV. It's cheaper than Netflix. The wrestling is a hell of a lot better on IWTV than what you're going to see on Netflix. They've got the best independents in the world. They're all on IWTV. The current ones are streaming live a lot of their shows. You get the video on demand of their past catalog. IWA Mid-South has shows that you can watch, and you can watch every one of these episodes on there eventually. We're almost over. We're around 2/3 of the way to having all the episodes up. Jeremy's Prophet of Ash is doing a great job with that. So just give him a little bit more time to catch up. These episodes are long, He's making them even longer by adding some of these footage, but I think it really enhances being able to see the matches that we're talking about, being able to see or listen to the promos that we talk about on these episodes. A lot of it is footage that hasn't been seen, hasn't really been released. So please watch it on IWTV if you have the opportunity, but you can still listen to it on YouTube, listen to it on all your favorite podcatcher apps. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at jfannin73. You can follow me with what little I do on TikTok at IWAFannin73. And my next show on the comeback tour is Wrestle Arts on May the 23rd. You can still get your tickets at Wrestle Arts Tix. That's TIX for Tix, WrestleArtsTix.com. Connor Hopkins and Mickey Knuckles are the current official members of the Fannin family. We're recording this on a Friday night. If enough retweets are done for Pawcade, it's been announced that by the time this episode releases, if enough people have retweeted that Pawcade, you're going to know that there's new members of the Fannin family. I'm not going to say it on here just in case the retweets total's not met. But just in case that total's not met, not going to say the names here, but 2 new members of the Fannin family are about to be announced if they haven't already. So pay attention on Twitter. Get your tickets for Pawcade. Look for Chad A. French on Twitter. He is running the social medias and hyping the Pawcade. It's going to be all over my Twitter. Get your tickets for Pawcade. You are going to want to see this match, ladies and gentlemen. You are going to want to see this match. And with who the opponents are in this matchup, I might actually, in the year of our Lord 2026, I might actually be a babyface based on who the members are in the Fannin family and based on who we're wrestling in this match. So you're going to want to see Pawcade. You're going to want to see Wrestle Arts. You're going to want to bring Connor Hopkins, Mickey Knuckles, these 2 individuals, and there may be a third man. We'll tease that out there too, but reach out to me if you want to bring the Fannin family to your show. We'd love to be able to pick up more bookings and let more people see what the Fannin family can do. And with that, we're going to see you on the next episode of Fannin's Flashbacks. So let it be written. So let it be done. Good day.